This is VSiN, the Sports Betting Network. This is Money Moves on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
Kicking off hour two here on Money Moves, VSiN, the Sports Betting Network. Stormy Buonantony, Jonathan Von Tobel with you. Still to come this hour, a couple great guests. We will have professional poker player and bettor Brandon Cantu on the program. Jeff Erickson of RotoWire giving us some of his favorite props ahead of Super Bowl 60. This segment, by the way, brought to you by Upside. Download the free Upside app and earn real cash back every time you fill up. Use the promo code SPORTS for 25 cents back per gallon on your first tank. And as we are just, 3 days away from Super Bowl 60, on this date 9 years ago, JVT, was the infamous Patriots-Falcons 28-3 comeback for New England. Falcons +3 still remains one of the worst beats ever in a Super Bowl. Were you, correct me if I'm wrong, were you on the air that day? Or I know you were doing stuff for VSiN at the time with Brent. What memories do you have of that?
Well, first off, it was, shame on you, our first Super Bowl, Stormy. So
that was the one. I wasn't here yet.
Yes. Okay, it doesn't matter. You're an employee. You should know the history of everything about this company at this point now. Yes, that was our first Super Bowl. So I was an on-air producer at the time. And I think we've told this story before. It's one of Matt's favorite memories, I would assume, of the network's long history at this point now, which is Brent Musburger, of course, there. We're watching the game, and halftime comes around, and at that point, the New England Patriots are up 28-3. The infamous score, the Falcons are up 28-3. The infamous score there against the New England Patriots. And Brent gets up, grabs his trench coat, his hat, puts it on, walks to the sliding door that we used to have at the South Point studio, turns around and says, "Turn out the lights, folks. Party's over." And he leaves. And then, sure enough, the party was not over, and the New England Patriots came storming back and beat the Atlanta Falcons. So, good memory, obviously. It's the start of the network as well. So, VSiN's birthday, coming up here. I always forget that, right around Super Bowl time. It's always going to be it. So, it will always be one that is etched in your memory for that. And also here at the network, it's always a special day as well because that's when we started.
Hell of a way to kick off the network with a beat like that and a moment like that from the legend, Brent Musburger. So freaking good. Again, 9 years ago today, Brady, who threw for 466 in that game, in the news all over the place this week as well because he made the comment that he doesn't have a dog in the race. It has been funny to see like Vince Wilfork and all of these Patriots people losing their minds about him kind of playing it political because he's a minor owner in the Las Vegas Raiders here.
Dude, that's actually been like a thing out here because I don't know if you saw this, but there was like, because obviously everybody's out here. There's like a Boston radio station, I don't know which one it is. They were just all upset about like, oh, Tom Brady left us and all the, like, doesn't care about us. He's not a Patriot. It's kind of wild. And I know one of the guys you're referencing was Robert Spillane, who was upset by it. Do people understand? Like you said, he's a minority owner. I don't think he's a broadcaster. I think he's just doing that because of those two issues. I don't think he hates the franchise, but this is the arrogance of the East Coast as usual. And yes, I'm talking about certain fans of the Boston area that may or may not work at our wonderful network. Look, you've got it really lucky. All right. You might have another good quarterback here for forever. Just be happy for once. You don't have to be miserable. I know it sucks up there and it's winter and it's awful, but relax, okay?
Well, you even have Patriots fans that are mad at him from the idea of, maybe it's ego-wise because Drake May is going to be so young winning his first Super Bowl with New England and there wasn't that long of a layoff since you left, Tom. We're right back here. It's like, okay, relax. There is a statue of this dude outside of the stadium. He loves the Patriots. He's rooting for the Patriots. He just can't say it out loud because he's a minority owner of another franchise. Let's move on. We did get some big news in the last hour and a half or so. Nicky Manwari, we were questioning what the deal was with his ankle after he suffered an injury yesterday at practice. Everybody saw the video of him limping into the hotel. According to Mike McDonald earlier this morning, it appears it is a low ankle sprain. He said he is, quote, confident that he's going to be able to play this weekend, which is big for the Seattle Seahawks defense, knowing what a key cog he has been to that back end. One injury, however, we know is confirmed. Zach Charbonnet unavailable down the stretch here. So Kenneth Walker, with that in mind from a prop betting perspective, we've talked a lot about what that rushing yards prop might look like for him. After the Charbonnet injury, his prop in the divisional round was 57.5 yards. The NFC Championship game, we saw that go up to 80.5. For the Super Bowl, opened up 78.5 after the 62-yard rushing performance last game. It's been bet down, especially knowing what the New England Patriots run defense is capable of. 73.5, the prevailing number right now, 72.5 as low as in the market. Still his third highest number of the season, JVT. Here is former Seattle running back and league MVP Shaun Alexander on Kenneth Walker having to elevate his game without Charbonnet.
Kenneth Walker, no Zach Charbonnet, he's going to be the bell cow.
Love it.
You think he's ready for the task at hand against New England?
I think it's going to be better for him. He just doesn't know it because he's never had to be that guy. But he does a lot of things to me when I watch him. I'm like, oh, you're like a smaller version of me, which I wanted to be a bigger version of Tony Dorsett. So I'm giving him a lot of props because I think he does some things really well. I think it's going to be a really, really good night for him.
So Shaun Alexander thinks it's going to be a big day for Kenneth Walker. Should we too, JVT?
I mean, I tend to think that it's going to be a muted day for Ken Walker. The one thing, I am a Patriots hater, as some of our audience has pointed out to me. The one thing that the Patriots do extremely well, though, is they defend the run. They're pretty good up front. They've gotten a lot more aggressive in being able to stop opposing running attacks. So I think that this is going to be the goal of New England. Don't let this offense, this Kubiak system and style, get the ground game going. Don't allow them to use play action. Don't allow those rollouts to damage you because you're having to flow so hard because you're worried about getting gashed. You have to be able to stop it. And if you can, then it just makes an offense one-dimensional, as we know. And then, of course, you get to go after Sam Darnold. And if you can get after Darnold, who's been bad under pressure, that's going to be it. But I think these numbers for Walker have really been inflated, like you've mentioned, for the betting market because of the injury to Charbonnet. And we've heard a lot of Helani. I think we talked about this yesterday with Kendall Valenzuela, the fact that we've heard a lot of Helani, and maybe he'll eat into this, and whatever it is, his role might be bigger. But I think it's going to be not a quiet day, but I would say unders on Walker were my thoughts for the game.
And the touchdown numbers inflated as well because we know Charbonnet was the lead touchdown scorer for the Seattle Seahawks. So the assumption Kenneth Walker will kind of move into that role a little bit more as well. He's minus 195 for an anytime touchdown, plus 275 for 2+ scores. One bet I do kind of like, though, on Walker is the first touchdown scorer or first team touchdown, plus 350 and plus 190, respectively. Just looking through our first touchdown tracker over at vsin.com, and Adam Burke has done a great job logging this throughout the course of the season. Seattle was second only to the Colts this year in first touchdown scored on the season. They got in the end zone 14 to 19 games, so nearly 74% rate compared to the Patriots, who only did so in 9 of 20 games. They also have scored first in 5 straight entering the Super Bowl in 8 of their last 9 games. So if we assume that Seattle is going to score first, or if, again, you want to go just like first team touchdown scorer, thought this was just kind of a fun additional nugget. One, per DraftKings, one of the top 3 favorites in the market has scored the first touchdown in the Super Bowl each of the last 3 years. And if you kind of narrow that down, it's Walker, JSN, Ramondre Stevenson. I think Walker, if you are in a position for Seattle as, yes, the Patriots' run defense is as good as they are, but you still want to try to establish some semblance of that so you can get the pass game going. Why not have him be the guy again? And he has done it recently for Seattle. So with Charbonnet gone, I think that could actually be a pretty opportunistic moment for him.
I would prefer it's JSN, personally.
I'm sure you would, as somebody who has an MVP bet on him.
I mean, look, I think you're right. It's like you said, and we've talked about quite a bit here, and the way that this is going to go. I don't think it would be a shock if I'm wrong that Kenneth Walker is going to be able to get there. Your angles here with the first team touchdown and whatnot, I think do make some sense for the way that they're going to try to get there. You also do wonder, I think our friend Chuck Esposito had this up. Was this him? Will the Seahawks throw a ball from the 1 yard line? Mm-hmm. So a prop that is reminiscent of course, another infamous Super Bowl ending when you're talking about involving the New England Patriots, the last time these two teams met in the Super Bowl. Yeah. So we'll see if that transpires. But I would assume that, yes, that's going to be something that is in the cards for sure with Walker being able to have it. But I think the Patriots are going to be big on trying to be able to contain that.
While talking run game, obviously a good run game is a quarterback's best friend, and 4-time Pro Bowl quarterback Jeff Garcia spoke to just that in the context of the big game yesterday. Take a listen.
Jeff Garcia is with us. 18 years as a professional quarterback, over a decade in the NFL. On behalf of Mueller Sports Medicine's Revive, go check it out. I want to ask you before you go, though, you've touched on the run game a couple times. That's a quarterback's best friend. Absolutely. But we've got 2 great run defenses. What kind of challenges does that present for these offenses if that run game is taken away?
Absolutely. I think, first of all, don't abandon it if you don't have success immediately. I mean, this is who you are. Balance is the key. Don't put that pressure on the quarterback right away to have to win the game for you. I think it's important, even if they're taking it away, you still got to utilize your times. Hey, 2-3 yards is a win at times. I've seen Seattle more than I have New England because I watched the 49ers closely and I saw how dominant Seattle's D was against the Niners, especially in the last 2 games of the season that they played against each other. They were dominant up front. That D-line is something special. And they allow the linebackers and safeties and DBs to free up because of how they consume the 5 offensive linemen. And now you're seeing guys hitting the line of scrimmage full steam ahead. It's tough to break through that wall. And so it's going to be a battle on both sides. And it's going to be really a key to see how these coordinators operate against that.
No doubt about it. Great insight there from Jeff Garcia with Dustin Sweetelson. By the way, you can catch that full interview on Cashing Out with Justin Sweetelson later on in the evening. Obviously, Dustin and JVT doing great work collecting some of these interviews from former players, bettors, analysts, reporters, all of that down at Radio Row in San Francisco. And we've talked about it a few times. You guys have been driving all over the place out there in San Francisco. And anybody else who's driving around, remember, there's no reason to pay full price at the pump anymore. The free Upside app gives you real cash back every time you buy gas. You can download Upside today. Start earning on everyday fill-ups. Use promo code SPORTS. Get 25 cents back per gallon on your first tank. Upside users earning hundreds of dollars each year just by driving the way they normally do. Cash out whenever you want, straight to your bank account or popular gift cards. Get started today with the Upside app. Promo code SPORTS. Offers vary by user and location. See upside.com for terms. We'll be right back.
So you're listening to this podcast because you want an edge. But what if I told you you're only halfway there? You've got the mindset. Now it's time to get the toolkit to match. Here's the thing. Pro bettors spend thousands on data and tools. But what they don't want you to know is that you can get the same edge for a fraction of the cost with VSiN Pro. VSiN Pro gives you access to expert picks, public betting data, prop projections, powerful tools, analytics, and more. Just tap the link in the description and see why thousands of bettors are already using VSiN Pro to cash more bets.
You're watching Money Moves here on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
Back here on Money Moves, Stormy Buonantony, Jonathan Von Tobel with you, and we have been gathering opinions all week long on Super Bowl 60. Seattle going head-to-head with the New England Patriots. Going to be a fun one coming up on Sunday. That spread has stood pretty still at the 4.5 in favor of Seattle, although there are a few 5s in the market. Total 45, 45.5, depending on where you look. And very excited to get another opinion here as we welcome in Brandon Cantu on the Progressive Guest Line. 2-time World Series of Poker bracelet winner, over $5 million in tournament earnings. 1/4 as well of the Fade Us podcast here on the VSiN Podcast Network. Brandon, you are a Seattle Seahawks fan, and what I like about you even more is that you're not shying away from that fandom at all because your belief is in them in the game from a betting standpoint as well. How pumped are you for this one?
Extremely pumped, and I've always loved them my whole life. This is my team, so this is pretty crazy. Like, I'm from the Pacific Northwest. We don't have any excitement ever. If you would have asked me in August, just before the Mariners made the big run, I live a terrible life as far as fandom. Had one Seahawks Super Bowl, so if you took out that little gap, there's nothing.
All right, so what are we thinking here? I mean, obviously, your team favored. Do you think the point spread is just? What would you do side?
I love the Seahawks. This is just their year. They're so solid. There's every position. The funniest thing is here I am wearing a Darnold jersey, and I think the weakest position that they have is Darnold on the whole team. As far as if you break down, the secondary, the line, receivers, et cetera, special teams. I love the Seahawks. I think they win big. I think the Patriots, this is an unpopular take. Everybody loves to give them their credit. I think they've been so lucky to get here. Easiest schedule. Everything happens. Quarterbacks break their ankles in the AFC Championship. I just think they're completely overrated. It's just a variable product. I love the Seahawks -4.5. I also love alternates. I love -16.5 plus 330. I think they're just going to absolutely roll. And somehow I kind of like it to stay under. So whatever that kind of score makes it, like a 31-7, 31-10 type game.
We are like-minded in that. I played Seattle, and I played a couple of those alts, -7.5, -13.5, but I see you building that out even farther. Does that scare you at all, though, as a fan, that you're that confident in your team? Because I know some people do the emotional hedge thing.
No, I don't usually just go crazy on the alternate lines. This is not a common thing. I haven't done it all year with them. And usually when I see something like this, I'm right about this. Because I don't get these inklings very often. I just think they just roll. It's hard for me to even put that down. And with that, I would love to give you my favorite pick of the year, if you guys don't mind.
Let's go.
Yeah, of course.
George Holani over 1.5 receptions. I know this is, and you guys a lot of people are going to say, who's George Holani? This is Zach Charbonnet's replacement to the ACL injury. Do not do the rushing yards, because this is going to be a Kenneth Walker show. I mean, he's probably, if it's a blowout, like I think it's going to be, I wouldn't be surprised if he got 30 carries, and there's no limit. You got 9 months to heal till your next game. So I think they're going to go crazy on Kenneth Walker on the rushing over 70.5 yards. But what they do with George Holani and what they would do with Zach Charbonnet, once they get inside the 25-yard line, the defense kind of scatters in more, and they throw this little, I don't know, just kind of like bubble screen or little screen out a couple of yards, and Holani gets these cheap catches. So I think he's going to get 3 to 5 catches. It was when I was putting it on, I put it on my podcast on the Fade Us Sports one. When I did, it was -115. So now it's -140 today, but I still love it. I think he's going to get 3+.
How worried are you at all about Nick Emanwari?
Not worried. I don't think we need him. I know that's a big statement. He's still, I mean, he's a great player. I mean, do we want him? And the best thing is if there's a tiny injury, I think you'd rather be on the safety. You can be he's so good that you can be a hair slower. Where if you're a corner and you have that ankle injury, oh no, you got lightning speed. So that's my opinion. I mean, I'm sure experts would tell me I'm off. Oh, we need him completely healthy, et cetera. But
Brandon Cantu.
What do you think? Do you think it's a big deal?
Host of the Fade Us podcast here. I don't think it's a big deal, just because of at least what we've heard from Mike McDonald, right? That it's a low ankle sprain. He thinks he's going to play. I think if he's limited, if he's even just a semblance of what he's been throughout the course of the season, it's not going to be that big of a deal. It kind of reminds me of, I feel like a lot of these injuries have been kind of overblown, Brandon, with the oblique to Sam Darnold, the shoulder with Drake May, now the ankle with Emanwari. I don't know. I feel like maybe just because it's Super Bowl week and we have so much time to talk about this stuff, any little thing that pops up, we're overreacting to.
I agree. He'll be fine. There's so many injections or, especially I heard that's what they were doing with Sam Darnold's oblique when it was bad. And I kind of knew you can almost make it so you don't even feel your oblique. It might throw your timing off a hair, but he should be able to throw it. He should be able to throw it and be good. I feel very confident.
All right, I'm curious. I mean, what are you doing for the game? Are you going to watch it? I mean, where are you going to do? What are you going to do?
That is actually, I should have big plans. I'm watching it with my kids. Even my kids are like, what are we doing? We got to throw a party. Maybe I'll have some friends over, some family, probably have a gathering of 8 or 10, either at my house or a friend's house. So
they just all have to
nothing too crazy.
Yeah, they just all have to be like-minded individuals. You don't need any of that negative juju around.
Well, here's my strategy to a big game, and I've done this my whole life. Anybody because I love to bet a lot of games on Sunday, anybody that has one possible rooting interest against mine or cheers out loud, you got to either hide your interest really well so I don't know what's going on. This is my own home rules. Yeah. Or I can't be around those people because what you're saying, the juju is so strong. So I clear the whole house of anybody that's betting against me or cheering against me. I'm like, you got to go. So it makes me have a clear mind for the day, because I get angry if not.
As you should.
That's
absolutely. Go ahead, JVT.
Are you you're a poker guy? Does superstition bleed over into the poker for you as well?
Yes, it really truly does, and it affects me, because here's the thing: I'm doing live betting, I'm doing everything. Now, imagine I was at the poker table and we're playing for a lot of money, and I have somebody rooting against me sitting next to me. Obviously, eventually, it's going to get to me. Every hand, you got somebody rooting. It's the same thing in sports betting. Do you need like a angry wife or like an angry or an angry relative or whoever, friend? Do you need that like right next to you? Probably not. The wife you might not be able to help, but the other ones at least.
You're stuck with that one, buddy. Yeah, there's nothing you can do.
Yeah, the wife
that.
you might be stuck with, but the other ones you can help.
Brandon, you mentioned, of course, the Fade Us podcast on the VSiN Podcast Network, and you and Phil Hellmuth and David and Mike. I mean, such a fun crew. And I know throughout the course of the NFL season, you guys are giving bets on this game in particular. When people tune into the podcast this week to hear all of your guys' opinions on the Super Bowl, how much dissension is there? How much fighting and bickering do we have on this week's pod?
We pretty much agreed. Like, there would be, I think Mattisau liked Patriots, but he thinks it's going to be like a 3 or 4 point game. I mean, like I think it was me and Phil and Woodley think the Seahawks are just going to blow them out. So it wasn't like there was that much. And I think we all agreed we all like the under. I think it's barely going to go under, because I think Seattle's going to blow them out. But I do love the correlated. If you do like New England, I like going New England and over, or if you like the Seahawks, go Seahawks and under.
Yeah, I could see that for
Who's the
sure.
MVP?
MVP. This is very specific. Don't take Darnold. Don't take Drake May. I don't like the quarterbacks. I think I like Ramondre Stevenson at 30-1. It's actually the second favorite Patriot, because I think if the Patriots beat us, it's because they go run, and we just don't have an answer. He just goes 4 yards a carry, 5, 6, and just first down, bleeds the clock. That's the way to beat us. If they can't run the ball, they're not beating us. I will be shocked if Drake May just lights up the secondary and we just can't stop Drake. I'm not worried about that. I'm worried about the running game. That's the only way we lose. We're 8-minute drives.
Brandon, this was so fun. Thank you so much for the time. We appreciate it. And good luck this weekend. Have fun. I know it's a sweat, not only financially with your bets, but with your heart too. So have fun this weekend.
I know I'm very nervous. We don't get these chances. Thank you so much, guys, for having me. It's been great.
Brandon Cantu, everybody, professional poker player. Yes, good luck. And of course, check out the Fade Us podcast wherever you get your podcast. And JVT, I think that's the first time we've heard don't take the quarterbacks for the MVP market.
I know. I like it. I mean, think outside of the box. Every single time we say the same things for the next 2 weeks. If you like the Patriots, Stormy, you should bet Drake May to win MVP. Did you know that? How about the Seahawks? Same way.
No kidding. Like, that's the thing. It's because you're getting a better number on MVP with the quarterbacks instead of the money line. That's what everybody says. I've never heard that before. Okay, you hear that music. I got to step aside here real quickly. But when we come back, more Super Bowl discussion. Jeff Erickson of RotoWire is going to join us. We already dove into some of his props when he joined the program last week. What has he added to the portfolio? Is he doubling down on anything? Who's his pick for MVP? We'll hit it all coming up on Money Moves.
You're watching Money Moves here on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
We are 3 days out from Super Bowl Sunday as we welcome you back here to Money Moves on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network. SiriusXM, Channel 158, Stormy Buonantony, Jonathan Von Tobel with you. And we've been talking a lot throughout the course of the day of the marquee injury update with Nicky Manwari, rookie stud safety for the Seattle Seahawks, all of the concern around the video yesterday. Well, we have new video today, JVT, of him walking through to some media availability on the podium saying he had a scare yesterday. He's okay. Yeah, I saw some clips on social media a little bit ago of him walking up to the podium. They moved him onto a podium specifically so that he could talk today. He said there was a scare, but that he's all good. He's going to play. So positive news if you're a Seattle Seahawks fan after what you saw last night.
Yeah, I mean, I think, look, he's going to be out there, so that's really all that matters. I think how effective he's going to be is going to be the question, but you can't really play games trying to quantify what that's going to look like for him. If he's going to be out there, I'm going to assume that he's able to play at the level that he can play, and that is a very high level, and that will be very helpful for Seattle.
Seattle, of course, the favorite in this one, laying 4.5. But I will say, being an underdog has benefited you in recent history. The last 3 Super Bowls, the dog has won outright. The last 5, the dog has covered. Let's continue this conversation about Super Bowl 60 with Jeff Erickson, who joins us now on the Progressive Guest Line. Joins us every Thursday from RotoWire, doing great work, of course, on SiriusXM as well. And Jeff, I know we talked a little bit last week, but I'm sure you have added to the portfolio. Big picture, though, first, for anybody who missed your segment last week, where do you sit on the full game right now?
Full game, I'm on Seattle, and I'm exploring alt lines. I think but my score is 31-13. Is if I'm going to give a score, it's on Seattle. I like the under, and I like Seattle. I think the Seattle defense is going to rule the day on this one here. Drake May's been sacked 15 times in the playoffs. They have problems on that left side of the offensive line. Not that they haven't faced great defenses in the playoffs. They haven't, but they also haven't faced good offenses in the playoffs either. And I think that's going to they're going to get whittled down over the course of the game. And I think Seattle will pull away late.
Okay, I like it. All right, let's talk about some player props then. Let's talk about Drake May first off. Shoulder has now moved on. We're good. We haven't been talking about it anymore. So let's just talk about the performance for Drake May. What is your expectation for him, and how are you going to play it?
Well, one of the things I'm going to play is Seattle is exquisitely good at preventing chunk plays, the explosive plays. Unless you're the Rams, and they've had that couple of games where they've been able to get some big plays against them. We haven't seen a deep ball more than 33 yards since Amari DiMercato in a 44-22 game that was a bit of a blowout there. And then I'm giving all unders and fades this week because I think we talked about last week how the market tends to change towards as you get closer to the Super Bowl. You want to do a little contrarian take, so you want to be the hater in the room. So come fade away with me, I guess. So my favorite one, though, is the under on the longest completion for Drake May of under 33.5 yards. I don't think he hits a deep one against Seattle.
Overs early, unders late, as they say. And yeah, as we get closer to the Super Bowl, betting against human achievement as much as we can. So with that idea, though, with Drake May, if you don't think that he's going to hit a downfield pass, are you kind of correlating that with any Patriots wide receivers as well, that maybe their longest reception or yards in general are going to go under?
Yeah, I am. A couple of other receivers. Stephon Diggs is the under on the longest reception. Most of his work has been done over the middle, underneath. The sideline throws, I don't think that those are going to work for him. I think if there's a play that's going to hit, it's either going to be, if a deep ball does hit, I think it'll be Kyle Williams or I think it'll be Kayshon Boutte. I don't think it's going to be Diggs. So longest reception, I'm going to kind of tie that into the May bet. I'm going under 16.5 yards there. On the flip side, I also think that Boutte is not going to get a ton of targets. So I'm going under on his receptions. The best price I could find was over at DK. And again, shop around. You know, it's hard to find bargains, you know, for the Super Bowl on sides, on overall totals, but individual props, you can at least find some variance in the price. Like I saw when I was looking for the Kayshon Boutte receptions, I saw anywhere from up to minus 160 for the under 2.5. At DK, at least it was at minus 139. So dig around. Maybe you can find something better.
All right, Jeff, let's talk about a couple of these other ones that you like. How about Helani? I mean, we hear a lot about him. What's the role going to be for him in this game?
So I think he's a check down guy. He's a change of pace guy. He is the guy that comes in when Kenneth Walker needs a breather. But I don't think he's going to get a ton of yards. So if I'm thinking that the game flow is going to be that Seattle's going to be ahead most of the time, that it's going to be a close, tight scoring game, I really don't think they're going to be playing a lot of catch-up mode. I don't think they're going to be doing a lot of throws to Helani. I think he'll get a couple of receptions. I think that will be his role. But I don't expect big yardage out of that there. And it's interesting, too. You know, again, there's some variance between the various books in terms of the total on the reception yards for him. I'm going under 27.5 yards over at DraftKings. At MGM, it's 23.5, and this morning it was 22.5. Yeah. So there's a good middle opportunity if you want to try to shop around and try to play that a little bit.
For George Helani, it got up that high?
Yeah, and I just think it's because it's been pretty clear now that he's the number 2 for them. So at least on the receiving yard. So that's where I was where I found earlier this morning where I was digging around and trying to find something on that.
Okay. And do you get into any of the fun props at all, or like some of the more unique where you have the long odds, a non-quarterback to throw a pass, or any of those different fun like is there going to be a safety? Are we going to get an octopus? Do you have any fun with some of those long shots?
Those are fun. I went kind of boring last week with total sacks. I guess that's not quite fun enough. I did do a cross sport one. I did the Indiana Pacers, Pascal Siakam revenge game against the Toronto Raptors. He's got a total points versus the total rushing and receiving yards for TreVeyon Henderson. That's over at DraftKings. And you can get plus money on the Henderson side on this head-to-head. And my reasoning is, and I am a Pacers fan, so it hurts to kind of root against them, but they're going to they're in kind of tankathon mode. We saw the game against Utah earlier this week where they sat a number of their regulars. I could see a scenario where Siakam doesn't get full minutes. I could see that where he doesn't light him up. Whereas earlier in the season, he had 31 and 26 points respectively. I think maybe they kind of dialed it down just a little bit. Henderson, all it takes is one big play. I know he's kind of the trend is against him, but I don't think the skills have diminished. I don't think he's changed as a type of big play type of guy. So he could break a couple and get into the 30s, and I think it'll be tough for Siakam. And you're getting plus 115 on his side, minus 130 on the Siakam side.
All right. Who cares about the Super Bowl? I saw the rundown today, and I was excited because, Jeff, you bring with you today MLB win totals. Let's talk about the Houston Astros. A couple of weeks ago in studio, our own Adam Burke, who loves Major League Baseball, uttered a phrase off the air, which was, I think it might be time for the Astros to have their first losing season in a while. Would you agree? What are you doing with the Astros this year?
Yes, I would agree. And we'll be talking a lot of these win totals on Prop Points when we start live on Tuesday on the 10th. So I'm excited about that. So I'm excited to talk baseball. I always try to squeeze in a little bit more baseball talk. They lost Framber Valdez. That's official now. He's now a Detroit Tiger. They weren't ever going to re-sign him, but they've been pushing up against trying to avoid paying the competitive balance tax. They've really been watching their roster management, and they're thin. This lineup, guys, it's not as good as it used to be. Even with them having, Isaac Paredes and Christian Walker both on the roster, they're probably going to trade one of those guys because they both can't play because after the Correa trade. But look at their outfield. Actually don't look at their outfield. It's kind of ugly. It's like burning your cornea trying to look at them a little bit. But I think under 86.5 is a pretty good fade again. I'm worried about the state of their starting pitching. I'm worried about their offense. Yordan Alvarez, he hasn't proven he can stay on the field or stay healthy for a full season. If they don't have him healthy in the lineup for 150 games this year, I don't think they're going to score a ton of runs. And the AL West is no longer their dominion. The Mariners are really good. The Rangers retooled a little bit this offseason. I think they'll be improved from where they were. Even the Athletics aren't a pushover. At least their offense is pretty strong. Don't go after their pitchers in fantasy, but invest in some of their hitters at least.
Man, I knew this was going to be a Fadum edition of the segment today with the Super Bowl. I just didn't know that was going to be baseball crossover too, but here we go. Jeff, awesome stuff as always. Really, really appreciate your time, and can't wait to see you post Super Bowl as well to get more baseball talk.
All right. Good luck on your bets. Enjoy the Super Bowl, guys.
Back at you. Jeff Erickson, everybody. And forgive me for my momentary JVT confusion on the George Holani prop. My brain heard him saying receiving yards, but it's the rushing and receiving yards combo that it's the 27.5. So yes, shop around for that. I was like, what are we talking? I swear it was like 11.5.
Well, I mean, you would, I think it's fine because Jeff also made a mistake right there when he was listing off potential teams in the AL West that were going to be a problem. He did not list the Angels. So Jeff is making a lot of mistakes today.
No.
So it would be, maybe that was, maybe that's what threw you off. You know what I mean?
So the Angel, big season for Anaheim this year? Big season?
Looking for big things, man. They're growing. I'm telling you that much right now.
Come on. Which that's actually a good tease for what we're going to have coming up. Post Super Bowl, we are going to embark on going through team by team every day in Major League Baseball, getting you guys geared up for the season to come. So that's a little good segue for what we have on deck. That said, we got to take a quick time out here. When we come back, we are wrapping up this Thursday edition of the program. Best bets, an additional Super Bowl wager that I have added to the account, and more. Don't go anywhere.
You're watching Money Moves here on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
Here on a Thursday, Stormy Buonantony, Jonathan Von Tobel with you on Money Moves. I'm live in downtown Las Vegas, Circa Resort and Casino. JVT holding it down in San Francisco. Been working hard out there at Media Row. You and Dustin Sweetelson both collecting a handful of interviews. Going to say injuries. No more injuries here for the Super Bowl.
I am playing injured right now.
You are. How's the head feeling? You okay? I know it's a long night. You're driving in unattended, steering wheeled vehicles now. You're just a dangerous man these days.
Well, I don't think this is a symptom of like the nightlife. I think it's just a symptom of just being out here and doing a bunch of stuff. But I think to get the pain to go away or to dumb it down a little bit, once we're done, I'm going to slam my skull into this granite counter that I'm doing the show on, and hopefully that will dampen some of the pain that I feel.
No, that sounds terrible. Please don't do that, friend. Be nice to my friend JVT, by the way. I actually thought, meanwhile, while you did something where I was very not proud of you for getting in a vehicle that drives itself, which is just very dangerous. I'm going to send you that video, by the way. Not wise. Yes, please do. Where is that? I was expecting it earlier. I did something I think you would be proud of me for. I got out of my house yesterday and spent multiple hours in sunlight.
I'm proud of you. No.
You should be.
Oh, okay.
You should be.
Look, what'd you do? Did you go walk? Did you go
I went golfing.
Run? What'd you do?
I went golfing, but I feel bad for like everybody on the East Coast that's dealing with all of the weather conditions that they are and all of the snow and everything, that I'm just out here in 70-degree weather playing a 12-hole Cloud 9 out at Angel Park. But it was beautiful yesterday.
Did you wear pants?
I did wear pants and sleeves.
See. For those who don't know, I don't think I've said this on the air, but well, you are. I don't know, like you protect yourself to an odd extent. But the other day, I had just had an observation about Stormy, which I told to her, which is I feel like she always wears pants. That's all she wears all the time ever. And that's why I asked the question of, did you wear pants? Because it seems like that is true.
He goes, you just don't strike me as somebody that's ever worn shorts. Okay. Thanks for that, JVT. Appreciate you. Well, and we also came to the realization that I don't know what kind of lighting you have in your hotel room out there in San Francisco, but you look very tan and bronzed out there, where I feel like I look pale as a ghost. But I mean, skin cancer is a dangerous thing out there, okay? I'm scared of it. I like to cover up. I'm very pale. I'm scared about that kind of thing. So what are you going to do?
Yeah, I brought a lot of equipment, but the one thing I did not bring was, of course, my light. That's probably the one thing I should have brought here. So,
well, it's working for you.
This lamp that is giving me.
You have a glow. Yeah. You have a glow. Last couple minutes here before we get to the best bets. Like I said, JVT has been out there in San Francisco. You and Dustin collecting a bunch of interviews, hearing from different former athletes, former Super Bowl champs. And here is some sound from Dustin Sweetelson. You can hear the full interview on Cashing Out a little bit later on in the day. But here with Super Bowl champ Dennis Pitta on his thoughts about Super Bowl 60.
How do you think the game goes? Right now, Seattle's a favorite, -4.5. So the anticipation, everyone I've talked to says they like Seattle. How do you feel about this one?
Yeah, I mean, it's tough not to like Seattle this one. Number one, I think they've just been playing better football. I mean, if you look at what their defense has done over the last handful of weeks, I mean, it's been tremendous. And then Sam Darnold's level of play. I mean, in the NFC Championship game, he was outstanding. And he went toe-to-toe with, arguably the MVP and Matthew Stafford, and obviously came out on top. But the combination of that defense and the weapons they have offensively, it's hard to root against them. Now, selfishly, I root for the Seahawks as well, because Mike McDonald, their coach, was, a lowly quality control guy with the Ravens. When I was there, he was holding up scout cards for us and doing all the grunt work, right? It's been amazing to see his maturation in the coaching ranks and climbing to then defensive coordinator for the Ravens, leading a #1 defense, getting the opportunity in Seattle and doing what he did there. It's tremendous. So, he's a guy that is tough to root against in this game. And then Sam Darnold, seeing the path that he has taken, I really would want this for Sam, to be honest, and I think it'd be really cool.
It's Dennis Pitta. Appreciate you stopping by, man.
All right, thank you. Appreciate it.
Again, catch that full interview with Dustin Sweetelson on Cashing Out later tonight. But JVT, how scared should we be as people that laid 4.5 with the Seahawks that so many people are like-minded and thinking Seattle's going to win and cover this game and potentially do it by margin?
I mean, I don't know. Hey, you know me. I'm not really one that is prone to thinking that is going to affect the outcome of an independent event that is happening hundreds of miles away from where we were watching it. I don't really think it matters. So, this is also, I caught to Jeff Schwartz. I caught up with our buddy Jeff Schwartz earlier today. Hopefully we'll hear from him tomorrow. If somebody can upload the clips properly, that would be me.
Yeah, whatever that would be.
But we're going to hear from Jeff tomorrow. And, he had a point where he just goes, look, it's the Super Bowl. More people are involved than ever. So, yeah, it's going to seem like a tidal wave of support for one side. But you have split sharp camps. You have split bettors all over the place. It might seem like that is the case, that a majority of people like one side. But at the end of the day, it's the Super Bowl, and I think that's what you're going to get sometimes. So I'm not too worried about it.
Okay, we got a couple minutes left here in the program. Let's hit our betting recap from yesterday, looking ahead to what we have added to the account. And I'll start with you. I know you hate when I do this, but you're on a nice little run here in the NBA, and you got another dub yesterday.
Well, here we go. All right. Come on now.
No!
So,
you deserve good credit. You've done well. Kill me.
I know, but then it's going to end. The last time you did this, I think I just went completely in the tank. So
it's
yes,
astonishing how you're like, I don't believe that all of these opinions are going to have any impact on a game that's however many miles away, right. And yet my words are somehow the thing that's going to bring you down. Okay, go ahead.
Stormathy, you know me at this point right now. Just any positivity, anything complimentary is something that we push aside. We cannot take in. Yeah, we cannot handle it in any way, shape, or form. Cavaliers -2 yesterday. Get there, like we talked about it. The Cavs have been playing with their current roster for a while, and they were used to it. Yesterday, though, the Clippers were not. The Clippers were missing pieces. They were reconfiguring a roster in their rotations on the last minute just because Harden was not out there. So it felt like it was a pretty good spot for the Cavs, and they ultimately get it done there as 2-point favorites. As far as today is concerned, I'll be quite honest, I haven't really dove into the card to see what exactly is out there for the association. So my slate will be clean today in terms of best bets, and I'll have a lot more for you tomorrow, including a breakdown. The reason why I wanted to wait, by the way, for you, Stormy, because it's not because I'm too busy or being lazy or anything like that. Bad Bunny had his press conference today, so I do want to hear if he had some information that might have, given us some insight as to what's going on. But, the convention center was abuzz today because Bad Bunny was going to stop by for his press conference. Doors opened at 8 o'clock. For a press conference that started at 10. So it gives you an idea of how popular it was for him to have that presser today.
Yeah, and that'll be a fun breakdown that we'll get to tomorrow. And I think you're projecting because I didn't say anything about you being lazy, but it's just that's all in your head and your head's going through some things. No, please don't hit it on the counter, though.
Look, no, I'm not, but I will just say this. The other day, in a rare moment, sent you and Justin a long text about, hey, thanks, I appreciate it, I know I have been detached, all these sort of things, and it was met with resounding silence. So I'm just going to say.
What do you always say to me? I'm not going to give in to you compliment seeking that you've actually been doing a really great job, and that I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it.
That wasn't compliment fishing at all. I was thanking you. How was that fishing for a compliment? Fishing for a compliment is when I talk to you every weekend after one of your sidelines, and you're like, well, it wasn't really that good. Like, it's every time.
Shut up. Okay, let me close out the show with my recap from yesterday. Okay, so we had a good bounce back after what was an abysmal Tuesday. Wednesday, we go 3-1. We didn't even need the alts in the Oilers, Flames, Wild, Preds totals over at plus money, but that comes through. Wild and Predators in general, that was awesome. So first period streak continues, the full game. It was 3-3 after the first. Matt Boldy, by the way, with all three for the Wild in the first period. Also had an assist on the OT game winner. So please bring that energy to Team USA in Italy, please. Macklin Celebrini, however, we don't get there on the shots on goal. He only had 2, but very frustrating beat considering he had 4 shots missed in the game. So what could have been a beautiful night. That said, looking ahead to today, I mentioned it earlier when we were breaking down a little of the NHL card. I am on the Vegas Golden Knights at a short number, -128 against the Los Angeles Kings. I know that they are not a great team right now, but it's largely been the goal scoring that has been their issue. But you're taking on, the goaltending that has been their issue. Meanwhile, the goal scoring for the Los Angeles Kings has been brutal this year, and they're not going to have Artemi Panarin out there just yet. This game at T-Mobile Arena in Vegas, a short number with the Kings getting played there as a dog. And then I did add a small play, and a lot of my Super Bowl bets when we see the bigger plus money come in JVT are going to be just smaller bets to work through on the big Super Bowl card. But I threw in a Kenneth Walker first touchdown here at plus 350, especially given all of the information we had on the first touchdown tracker about the Seattle Seahawks and how often throughout the course of the year they have scored first, which includes 5 straight games, 8 of the last 9. And without Zach Charbonnet as that kind of red zone goal line option anymore, Kenneth Walker is going to be your guy in that area. So plus 350, the angle that we played on Kenneth Walker to score the first touchdown. I think a first team touchdown is worthwhile too, just shy of 2-1. That is a wrap for us today. We will be back tomorrow. More from JVT from San Francisco. That said, keep it locked right here on VSiN. Follow the money with Mitch and Pauly coming up after this on today's show. Paul Charchian has his best player props for the big game.